market's making all-time highs.
100%.
For me, it's, hey, take whatever the daily ATR value is,
Cross that
find the
line
low
that
of
I
the day, and
did
just
yesterday.
see if we get a daily ATR move. So the
Yeah,
low
yeah.
of the day so far right now in gold is 30.96 half, right around there. Daily ATR is 37 points, so that would put us somewhere near 33, 31.30. How do you guys measure? Markets making all time highs. Where can I look at potential targets to the upside?
I do more measured moves, like off of, especially because I use range charts as part of my analysis. So
1
I'll
minute.
measure a move and just see how it scales out. But
Okay.
there's a little more secret sauce, I think, don't you think, Vince, for everybody? And once you're at all-time highs, trying to pick levels above the market.
Yeah, I mean, it's uncharted territory, right? So
Yeah.
I'd probably trail it
100%.
at that point. I'd probably
Right.
trail the
Yeah.
stop until I get a pop. That's really,
Mhm.
But you could take a percentage of the move, right? So you could take like,
Mhm.
give you an example. So I do a lot of measured moves too, Coach. Who I do a lot of, so like if you measure this here, this is kind of like a little head and shoulders growing up here, right? And if we take a measured move
30
on
seconds.
this, it goes something like that, right? Brings you right down here to settlement. But if you go in the reverse of that, maybe you want to look it up here at 31.40s.
There we go.
So check your
See what we got
position.
Here we go.
10
10 seconds here.
Clear your
flat.
cues.
Yeah, check your positions. Make
Cancel
sure
all.
right here.
Cancel all, right,
all.
Vince?
Yeah, here we go. All right, we do have these numbers coming out very slowly right now. All right, consumer spending coming out at 0.4%. We got the core PCE month over month, as expected, 0.3%. Got the core PCE price index. They were looking at 2.7, coming in at 2.8. The price index PCE, they wanted a 0.3, coming in at 0.4. And the personal income month over month, they wanted a 0.4, coming in at 0.8. Retail personal consumption, they wanted a 0.3%, coming in at 0.1%. So the biggest skew here was the personal income month over month. They wanted a 0.4, coming in at 0.8. Otherwise, everything was pretty much straight up on the board. Back to you guys.
So thank you, Eddie.
Right.
So we did see a little bit of a dip in gold there, in the equities as well, selling off. Coach Vince, Coach Hoop, anything else on gold? Do we want to take a look at the equities?
Why don't we take a
Let's
look where
let the
the open
gold
range
play
is?
a
Because
little
that
bit.
was a non-event for gold. Let's take a look at the 1 minute. See where that's at. Did we even leave the open range yet? Yeah. So all right. So open range is a flop on the 1 minute. Let's see here. So yeah. So we took it the downside, then we went upside. We had a reversal there. So maybe we just gotta let this cook for a little bit.
Yeah.
But on the 5 minute, we took out the high of the open range on the 5. So let's keep an eye on that.
Okay,
If this rolls over and takes out the other side of this open range, I might take short and try to get this settlement play. But that was a dud, Eddie. Jeez.
That's what I call the good old fart in a tornado. Yes, indeed.
Man, that was horrible.
What was that? I farted.
That number. Then
So we got gold holding that high, the opening range. Coach Vince, you said you may be looking for shorts if we take out the low of the 5 minute opening range.
yeah, I mean, this thing might rally up here, Coach. I mean, the dead ass low on the 5 minute open range is right now sitting at 3106.80. 3106.80 is dead ass low. We're rallying off of the 5 minute open range. I mean, there might be a long attempt right here, but if we take that out, I'll probably be switching from my long side to the short side.
Gotcha. Good stuff. All right, let's take a look at the equities. I'm going to switch over to a NASDAQ chart. And let's go out to a daily to start. These markets are looking pretty heavy. We know all of February into the beginning of March, we were in this downtrend. We had the rollover week and a little bit of a relief rally. Maybe this was some short covering. And we talked about, what happens after rollover? Does the market get directional again? It looked like for a couple of days that direction was going to be to the upside. But still, since the mid-February, the markets are not holding a bid at all. We traded above the 20 moving average on the daily. Yesterday, we used it as a resistance, and today we're trading lower. We had this gap to start the week, and I'll go down to a 30-minute chart so we can take a look at that. But that gap in the NASDAQ, the high of the gap was 20,050. The low of the gap, 19,980, we'll call it, somewhere around there. And we're trading under that gap at this point. I'm leaning to the sell side in these markets because the markets are telling us that as well. If we look at what we've done so far since the session opened last night, Dakota slow markets, we've been selling. Here is the white box I have on my chart now is the 30-minute opening range from the Globex session, and the red line here, we'll make this one yellow since this is full session, is that VWAP from that session, and we can see it acting as a resistance the entire way down. Currently, that's sitting at 19,934, and with that number that just came out, looking bullish still. Bearish still.
Yeah.
I am looking for places to sell this market. What I've seen so far in the New York session is when it opens up, we've gotten a pop to that session.
Order
VWAP.
filled.
So right now it's at 19,935, and that is where our sellers are continuing to step in. Coach Vince, what are you looking at in the equities currently?
Yeah, so the equities are
Order
getting a little
filled.
bit spicy.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Order
a daily
filled.
chart, and we are in danger of a potential death cross here. I've been following this now for a couple of weeks. It's getting
And so what's a
closer
death
and
cross?
closer.
What is a death,
Death
cross?
cross is when the 50-day moving average will cross below the 200-day. So here you can see the 200-day moving average. And a lot of institutions, they follow this 200-day, right?
Big
And
time.
most times you get to it, they buy against it. But now we're trading below it, okay? And this red line here is the 50-day. So if this crosses below here, it becomes something. You will start hearing it on the news, like on the regular news out there. They will be talking about this death cross. So I think it's going to happen. I mean, unless we rally above this thing in the next couple of days, this is going to be an event. So I'm keeping my eye on that. Now, we do have a bear flag on the daily as well. All right. So if you take this, we draw it up like that, you can see we have a bear, excuse me, we have a bear flag. So the shorts are on, right? We're in the elevator and we're hitting the down button right now. So
Yeah.
this is where we're at on the daily. So we got to keep our eyes on that. Let me go here to the 30 and let's take a look. So on the 30, we are already below. We already have the crossover, but on the 30-minute chart. Actually, let me pull these off real quick. Give me lines. All right. So here's the gap. Okay, yesterday, you can see we filled the gap. We traded in the gap. Let me put on the profile. Second. All right. So over the last 2 days, this is what's been going on. So back on Wednesday, we had increasing volume and a building open interest. Okay, on this day. And then yesterday, we had increasing volume, so we picked up the volume with a build, which means that the money is coming into the short side, right? The money's been coming into the short side. So new money is flowing in the direction of this downward move. So I am really looking at shorts. We are, see if I can pull up this here. So we have a naked point of control down here at 836.50. All right. We are below this exponential moving average. We have bear flag here. We have a bear flag at right now from the overnight from the London session. So until we take out 19,973, I do like the short side in this market right now. We're opening outside of range and value, so maybe an open range trade can be a play today. All right, with targets down here at 19,838.50 and potentially to test this low from back on March 21st. All right, now if we get back into this gap, which the low of the gap was around 1975, I could see a potential rally up here to test settlement from the previous day. Well, actually, from yesterday. I have different settlements on here. What did I do? Do we have settlement from yesterday on the chart?
Settlement
Anybody have
from
that?
yesterday in the NASDAQ is at, give me 1 second, Coach Chance, I'll get that for you.
Thanks.
20,116, looks like. Yep,
All
20,001. That's not right.
No?
Nope, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Well, you got that 1
Sorry
second
about
here.
that.
Warm biscuit coming over the wire here. China will certainly respond to the countermeasures if the U.S. insists on harming China's interests regarding the April 2nd reciprocal tariffs. This is coming from the Chinese state media. Back to you guys.
This is crucial right here.
19,990 quarter is settlement.
All right, so I did
19,990
have it
quarter.
right. I did have it right. Okay. I just had this in the wrong spot, I think. All right, so I did have it right.
You guys looking
Sorry
at
about that, guys.
end of month rebalancing at all either? I mean, that's the other thing that,
Yeah, it's coming. Oop. Is today
right?
the last day of the month? Trading day of the month?
Well, today's the last day of the month, so we haven't really
Monday.
talked about that. That used to be a big, well, Mondays actually, but doesn't it usually go on a Friday? Or no?
Usually, yeah. Yeah. Fridays, I would say, is
Yeah.
probably the big day.
Yeah.
What are you looking at, Coach Hoops? So you brought that up, right? The monthly rebalance. What are you normally looking at when that happens? And we are seeing the equities make not new daily lows, but continuing to sell towards that the low of the overnight session. With that rebalance, Coach Hoop, what are you looking at there?
I mean, that's the thing. You know, Coach Paul and I were talking about that. You know, it was a big deal in the summer. We used to see those massive kind of directional days when everybody was kind of piling in the market. I noticed over the last couple of months it hasn't been as big a deal. But, you know, when you have options expiring and the end of the month, it's just one of those things that I just keep on the radar. I don't know if it's quite as, you know, I think you talk about being nimble and, you know, adapting to market state a little bit. That used to be a big deal in the summer. But I just, you know, once again, it could be a late MOC thing too, because the last couple have come late, you know, the injections.
Good stuff. I am seeing. I know this is opening call, but this is starting to feel like a little bit like fast markets, where these markets are
Yeah.
selling after that number on the downside in the NASDAQ at 19,855. I'm seeing an 800 lot bid at 19,855 in the NASDAQ, and we're kind of selling towards that. This is where Andre will be talking about the caveman trade. Do we just sell into that level? for a potential short
Oh, I
here
see that.
in the NASDAQ currently. If we pop back up to 19,890, and I see this anchored VWAP from the newsprint hold, the low of that newsprint is right at 19,890 as well. I think about taking a short here with risk above 50% of this range, just to look for these overnight lows.
Coach A,
Yes, looks like
50% of
it's
the range. What's the
good.
price on that?
50% of that news range is 19,915.
19,915.
Yep, 19,915.
Okay,
But
there
okay,
we
so
go.
800
All
lot
right,
just
okay.
got
I
pulled.
got you.
800 lot pulled. So maybe they're
So
playing
nothing
games with
really.
it today. But very
They're getting heavy
interesting
here.
price action that we see here. Eddie, you have any details on the tilt right now? What are we looking at?
Looking at the tilt right now, I've got the Nasdaq 61% short, ES 58, so it's not really reacting. I know that we got the Dow running the same track as the ES and Nasdaq. Also, Russell taking a south run right now. Also, but that's about it. Gold right now 71% long, and
Yep.
let's see, long
Yes, so
average
this-
price 3113.86.
Yeah, this gold, there might be a short up here.
Okay, what are we looking at, Coach Vince?
We're
What levels
at
are you
that
looking to
range
short
that I
at?
was saying. I was
Stop
telling
again.
Coach Hooper,
Crap.
in the green room, I think I
Yeah.
liked short at 17, but I got to monitor it a little bit up here. But I think I might like a short up around the 17 level.
Order filled.
We'll see though. We have open range and the 5-minute at the low of the session. But this area here is interesting to me. I mean, we might just blow out the top and put it on another all-time high today. But it is interesting up
That's
here
the
around
struggle with
31.17.
gold, Vince, too, is it's such a V-shaped moving market. I struggle sometimes. Like, I can get in, but the question is it seems like placing the stop or just tends to location's always tough, and then it seems like you get stopped out a lot, then it goes your direction. So I struggle a little bit, and I don't know.
Order filled.
You trade it too, Jay. I mean, are you just always using your ATR as your kind of guide for your stop placement?
For me, if I've been trading gold, I've been using, just putting stops on the other side of volume. Where
Okay.
if I find some high volume and I can trade within the prices that they executed that volume, then my stop is just going to go on the other side. Usually a candle before the high volume, right? Just allowing whoever that market participant is to, defend that
Do
position
their thing.
and
Mhm.
yeah, just let them work from there. But yeah, definitely a market that can do a V-shaped recovery, like the best of them, and then make a
Yep.
new all-time high in it. Let's take a look. We got 15 minutes to crude opens. Let's take a look at the S&P really quick. On a higher time frame, again, back to the daily chart, looking very heavy as well. Again, under that 200 moving average. Coach Vince, you talked about that potential death cross. We have the 50 moving average in the S&P on the daily at 59.74. 200 is at 59.22. Now, we're all, I mean, Coach Hoop, you're probably the most fundamental trader of the three, right? Of the three of us here. I look at technicals, I think like you do as well, Coach Vince. And, are there circumstances in the current environment, economic, political environment that we have that are causing the markets to sell off? 100%. Do I consider those personally in my day trading? Not as much. But from a technical perspective, the last time we saw that death cross you talked about, Coach Vince, was March of 2022. Does anyone remember trading
There you
in
go.
2022? The markets were negative in,
Yeah.
in 2022. So that's what we're looking at here from a technical perspective. Whatever circumstances bring us there, you can look at them. And Coach Hoop, I want to throw it to you a little bit for the fundamentals of what might be going on. I know you focus on it in your Discord class, but from a technical perspective, these markets are under very heavy sell pressure. The 20 moving average at 57.49.5. We've already used that as a resistance today in the S&P. We can see where that high tick is in the overnight session and continuing to sell lower here. Now, does this mean that we just sell off? No, but I know for myself, I am looking at selling these markets until they show that they can hold the bid. Coach Vince, any levels that you're looking at in the S&P, and then Coach Hoop, how much do you consider fundamentals in your day trading?
Let you go first, Hoop.
Well, I mean, it was such a huge chunk of what I did on the floor, because the fundamental would come through with the order flow. I think I've had to rein it back for me since moving to electronic trading. But it's just always been part of what I kind of reel in. So I'm looking at like April 2nd, that still seems to be in everybody's mind. So does it maybe shade me biased a little bit? I kind of like in my fundamentals when there's a lot of stuff flying around, because I am a sniper scalper. I tend to do better in that environment myself, because I think sometimes, technical numbers tend to go out the window a little bit in volatility. So
Okay.
I don't necessarily know if I throw it in as a structure, but I'm definitely, I kind of put in a pot and kind of mix them together a little bit, I guess is the best way to say it.
Gotcha. Just a quick update. I did take that short that we talked about in the NASDAQ. We popped up to 19,890 and rejected. So I'm short 2 micros, small size, just because, pre-market, we're doing the segment as well, but we rejected right at the low of that news candle. So I'm short 2 micros, 19,883. And target conservatively is going to be that overnight low down at 19,845. And if we can continue to sell through there, 19,800s is going to be what I'm looking for here. But
Nice.
Coach Vince, back to you. Let's take a look at some S&P charts on your side. Let us know what you might be looking at here.
All right, so pretty much same thing. I've been, watching that daily, right? That death cross. So, it's going to be interesting. But let's look at the 30. So on the 30-minute chart, we have the last couple of days, we had this big push down. All right, we had increased volume of build and open interest, which means new money came into the short side, right? So this is new money coming into the market selling. Then we have yesterday, we had a build in volume again, all right? And we settled at 57.39 quarter. So we had another push down on, we lost open interest, I'm sorry. We lost open interest yesterday, but we had a big build this day. So what I'm thinking is yesterday, we were kind of at a range bound type trading day. And maybe there was just a little bit of, these shorts taking some profit yesterday, because since we lost open interest. But are we going to build volume and open interest again today, coming into today's trading day? We are opening. Well, we may open with a gap. All right, we are below range and value presently right now, so we'll have to see how we open at 8:30. But right now we are below range and value, so I do like the open range trade. All right, we did take out this little bear flag. All right, we're value high from from March 21st is sitting up here at 57.12. Now, if we defend 57.12, we could get a potential rotation back up here to settlement, which is 57.39 quarter. If we fail to do that, and we accept into this value range of 57.12 from back on March, I could see a potential rotation here to point of control at 56.94 half, and maybe test the lows of March 21st, which is down around 56.51. So that is what I'm looking at in the ES. I do like your short here, Coach Jay, but we do need to watch this level at 57.12 to see if we bounce off of it or not. You're in the NASDAQ, right? Let me just go over to the NASDAQ real quick.
I am in the NASDAQ. Similar level, the low that news candle that we were talking about in the S&P would be 57.18, right? So if we convert that trade over that I'm in the NASDAQ, it will be shorting that 57.18 just right at the low of that news. Stop at 25.
Gotcha. All right, so right now, NASDAQ is inside of that value area from March 21st. So we're going to have to see what happens here. You know, do we accept in here and maybe we'll rotate? We have a point of control 19,841 that's outstanding, and the value low of 19,716 from back on the 21st of March. And then the low, overnight low on that day was 19,601, somewhere around that area, which gives you below value here. So on the upside, though, we need to watch the gap low. If we can,
my original entry
we
was
might test
here
up
at
here to gap in settlement
83,
and still
so I
have
still
short
will be on
opportunities in
this
this market. Okay, we might reject this area up
trade.
at 19,970.
I was looking at, I think it was
Okay,
the
so we have to watch that area too. But I do like
fair value
potential
gap.
settlement and then rotation down if we do get it. But hopefully this
is a
short works
fair
out and it
value
just keeps
gap.
going for you.
Why do I have this here?
Where's gold?
Yeah. From this candle.
Good question. The one thing
Yeah.
I would say I
This
don't love
candle.
about this short is that it's pre-market, right? So we did get
Yeah.
that volume spike from the news. The potential to get that volume continuation right now, 40 minutes before the open is lower, right? So was that a see profit, take profit
This
trade
was
where
the
I had,
original,
about 20 points in my favor? Potentially, but I do like the
but I
level
was looking
and my
at
stop,
this prior to
it's
this.
defined. But if there's one thing I didn't like about it, it's the lower
So
probability
I'm
of
looking
a
at
volume
this,
follow through
okay?
this close to
I
the
was
market
about to
open.
close it,
Gold's trading at
but what I'm going to
31.16
do,
right now,
I'll probably
Coach Vince.
add
Gold
one
also
more.
70% long here
Add
right
one
now.
more.
31.1437, and
Right
crude's going to be
here,
opening up here top of
right
the hour,
here. This will
and
be
we're looking
up.
around 72%
This will
long
be
here in
down.
crude.
So
Thank you,
we
Jay.
are
All right, let's
somewhere
take a look at some
here.
crude
lot up
levels.
here, Eddie.
Let's see.
Sorry,
We got
Jay.
one right here.
Vince?
That might sell 1,000 lot
Let
up
me
here.
see. One, yeah.
You know what? Put me in
So
for 200. Make it a 1,200 line.
Yeah. Eddie's good for it.
70.
Let's
Thanks,
take a
Eddie's
look
back
at
Can hit 71.
at some crude oil levels here before this open. Out on a daily chart in crude oil, we got 200 moving average on the daily at 70.23. It's a pretty much a flat line, and if we zoom out and look at crude, it's been this flat line for the better part of almost 2 years
2
now.
years.
Take me.
And we're trading on both sides, right? So for the past month or so, we've traded under it. Then crude likes to trade over it. Is this just a big range-bound market that we're seeing in crude oil? Is my question, and we're kind of in a decision-making area where do we sell off here or do we go and trade back to the other extreme of that range on a daily chart? On a shorter time frame, on a half hour, we're kind of making this move upwards. It's not the most convincing move. You've maybe heard some crude oil traders talk about the range as being contracted a little bit here. If we look at the daily ATR, it's $1.45 right now. That is the lowest it's been on this chart that I have since 2021.
So sad.
The ranges might be leaving a little bit to be desired here in crude oil, but it is making a move to the upside, right? I think if I haven't traded crude much just because I think there's a little bit more opportunity in other places as far as volatility goes. But it is trending upwards, right? We're trading at $70.03 right now, making a move upwards. Coach Hoop, I know you just said so sad. You do like trading crude. We were on the
It
other
used to
day.
be my baby, and I just don't trade it anymore. It's just the ranges are so tight. It is coming up against the 200-day on the daily at 70.37. Interesting. You know, that might be I'll be honest with you, it might be I mean, Jay, Paul, we all talk about this kind of line in the sand. That might be an area to see how the market reacts up there that I might get me interested in a short.
Coach Hoop, are you
Yeah.
out of that gold trade? And if you can, for the board, just give us a P&L update.
I am up $88 in my 50K XFA this morning. And yeah, I'm flat. Yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Golden Swan there, huh? Hoop.
Yeah, there you go.
88.
Coach Vince, your look at crude oil right now. What are you looking at? Any levels that we might be paying attention to? Have you been trading crude at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I took a crude trade on the opening call earlier this week, and I got out before the number at 70.05, right around here. So it was funny because Dolby time, he was playing the open range trade, and I was playing the open range trade, and I guess he didn't realize that we usually go a tick below, a tick above. So Dolby time got filled on his short, which I didn't, because it came down to the low of that candle. So I never got filled. I got filled long. He got filled short. And I ended up taking a profit of 70.05, and we were filled at 94s on that particular trade. But 70-30-ish, 20 to 30 was my area of resistance. So that was going to be the target if we didn't hit up there. So I do like that we are outside of range and value right now. We're above settlement 69.92. There might be an open range trade opportunity here because we're above range and value. I do like maybe taking out 70.22 with a push up to where Hoop says 70.37, right at that 200-day moving average. So if we can grab a long, maybe that's a good exit, right? For
order filled.
Quick scalp. But I guess we got to see how we open here and how big this range is, if it's worth taking it, right? Because if it's not at least 2 to 1, I don't want to take the trade.
You don't take it, right? Yeah.
Not worth the risk.
Yeah, it's got to be at least 2 to 1 for me to even, come out of bed, right, and put my money on the table. So, if we open up here at 70.18 and we take an open range, I'm not going to go in there for just 15 ticks.
Keep an eye on that gold.
Right, it's just. Yeah, let's look at that gold. Hold on.
Gold was almost 80% long here.
318 area and rolled against that area you were talking about. I just watching.
All right, we're gonna keep our eye on that.
Keep an eye on it.
Oh, just sell it down. See that?
Sold.
On a tilt, gold was almost 80%.
Was it 80
long here? Yeah, almost. Yeah. It's kicking back. We're now 68, so that's why we're seeing this.
Yeah. If I was a gold producer, I would be unloading my whole inventory on the market right now. I would just sell it. Sell it.
Sell everything.
We're at all-time highs, Eddie. We're at all-time highs.
I'm seeing 5,000
futures if it drops.
I like 5,000.
Buy futures if it goes down. I like 5,000 too. I think if we didn't have Bitcoin, this thing would be at 10,000 probably.
Oh God, you're probably right, Vince.
And you know what's the thing that I like about gold is it does very, very well in times of stagflation, which I think is kind of like what we're going through, right? The economy is stagnant and gold is rallying. So I like inflationary times and stagflation times is a good time to trade gold. I remember I started trading gold when it was $280 an ounce. I wish I was rolling over my contracts. Oh my God! Yeah.
Right, just keep rolling it.
Just check your
Oh, we
broker.
had a
We got a
position.
few in
I
there.
had a position
Free
built up
market, I
on
love it.
49 contracts at one point, big contracts in gold,
Oh wow.
around $320 an ounce. Could you imagine if I just rolled this for the last 15 years?
So why place
So the
another trade
firm
at
that-
that point?
The firm that I worked when I left Chicago and moved to AZ, I worked for a brokerage firm, and when they were looking for futures sales rep, and we were talking, and he says, well, we also do securities. I'm like, great, I'm going to get my, maybe I'll learn to, get my 7 and stuff. And he goes, and we have a safe back here and we sell gold and silver. I'm like, what? The wild, wild west, we sold gold eagles. And we shipped them out to clients, and I'm just like, physical gold, you guys, that was right around Y2K. So everybody, the world was going to explode, right? So everybody wanted a hedge. So people were buying gold.
Good stuff. We got crude opening up in a minute. Eddie, after this crude open, do we have any other news that we should be looking out for today?
Let me scroll down because I had some here. Same thing with the levies. I know that Trump is. Let's see here. Trump is talking. Canada and U.S. talks here right now. Sometime this morning.
Okay.
UK Starmer also in talks with some U.S. officials. So I'm just sort of watching the wire right now. We do have 9 o'clock University of Michigan sentiment that's going to be coming up at 9 Central. And we are open in the
number.
crude. We do have Fed's bar at 11:15. Trump going to be swearing in the ceremony at 12. And then our Baker Hughes rig count. Bostic I think around 2:30.
Order filled.
Bostic will be speaking. So that's what I've got so far.
Awesome. Thank you, Eddie.
Why don't you front me that margin money, Eddie? We'd be up $500,000 right now.
Yeah. Cut
right now,
check.
500 grand.
You got to catch me before I, put it on a horse.
Let it go.
Almost 600 grand. We're gonna make $1 million right here in about another 5 minutes.
So,
bada bing, bada boom.
We have that crude oil open, but we see gold moving right now. You were talking about getting the short from 17s. Is there any way, what would your target be on this, or are we kind of reaching that area? I know what I'm thinking.
30.91, Jay. 30.91 is my target.
Would you get in on a pullout?
Possibly. I'm gonna watch this here because pull my chart. If we could take this out right here, this and this, I think I like it, and I want to stay below 3109 to be comfortable in the trade. And if we get that, I'm looking all the way down here to 30.91.
You said take this out. What price is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so
3110s.
3109 area.
Got you.
If we bounce off of this here, this 3108-ish, then I might want to cover that particular short. But we're gonna have to see how we hold around the 3109 level.
Be short.
New lows,
We're gonna be
Eddie,
short.
if we get to 30.91, Eddie,
short. I know we're
could
gonna
have
be
been on an
short.
island.
So let's do 8 o'clock.
Vince, I'm
drinking a Mai Tai.
Okay? I'm married, buddy. I couldn't do that. You and me.
Well, you could.
Skipper and Gilligan. No,
You could have your half of the island, Eddie.
unless there's like a we could do that, you know.
We did make new lows in the S&P, not yet in the Nasdaq. Is that Yep, new lows in the S&P, low of the day so far,
By a tick.
57.11 by a tick, and we bounced from there. The Nasdaq, at this point with this trade, I'm gonna take one off,
Yeah, I like that.
and
Especially pre-market, Jay. You know.
yeah, pre-market trade, taking one off.
Yeah.
Again, my target is still much lower than where we are right now, but with this being pre-market, I wouldn't be surprised as soon as the market opens up, we pop right back into this range, uh, and then continue to sell from there. So I'll take some of it off. Let's take a look at crude oil. We got that opening
Break it out.
range. Looking at a 3-minute opening range. So from the 1
Wait
minute
for
we
this
just broke
candle
out,
to finish.
1
This
minute opening range
15-minute
high is
candle to finish, and then go
70.02.
from there.
The low of it 69.87. Coach Vince, you were talking about a potential long in crude oil. Is this counter trend movement that we're seeing right now just setting us up for a better opportunity to take a long?
Well, if you go over to my charts, we can look at this a little bit. So the open range is the high of the session right now. So the short, if we were going to take the open range, sure, we'd be short. We did get to point of control from yesterday, which was 69.78. A value low, 69.54. There's an upward sloping trend line that's on a longer time frame chart around 69.50s. So I mean, I wouldn't mind taking this short with a ride down here to 69.50 and maybe looking for a long. But
69.50.
that's kind of where we're at. Yeah. I mean, we opened, where did we open crude oil? Did we open outside of range? We opened at 70 even. Opened at 70 even. Yeah, we opened outside of range. We came back into the range. We're in value. So we already got to point of control.
I'm short of micro gold.
I like a potential long down here around 69.50s if we can hold this upward trend line here. It's below value from yesterday. We'll have to see, how this plays out. But we could have taken that open range trade. How many ticks is that? Ticks, you have 70.02 to 69.87. It's only a 15 tick open range risk, which is cheap.
Yep.
Which is cheap. But if we take out the other side of the open range, we might have an open range reversal play here to the upside as well. So let's keep our eye on that. Yeah. Back above 72, open range high. So there are going to be situations where the open range may fail, but then you get a reversal breakout in the other direction. So let's keep our eye on that crude oil.
Good stuff. Coach Hoop, I did hear you say you were short a micro gold. Is that
3,
correct?
311, 13, 30.
Okay. Nice. And you're looking for those 93s at the low of that
I'm looking
target?
at those, and I'll risk that. That kind of area Vince was talking, like 319.20. So I mean, not risking a lot. I'm risking what, $50.
Okay.
It might be something if it gets cooking, I add to. I hate counter trend gold though. Sometimes,
Yeah.
when it gets cooking, man, that's the only kind of, it's one of those markets when it goes, I want it to kind of almost timestamp it. And if it doesn't go pretty quickly, I usually tend to want to cut it. Especially counter trend.
Yeah, it could be
It's just
pretty vicious when it's in its mode.
Yeah.
It can be vicious.
Like ES just continues to grind lower.
Yeah, ES is grinding lower. Nasdaq's grinding lower.
All right,
Crude
Coach
oil.
Hoop, I do got one more chart. We have you here. We know you look at a ton of different markets. I got a market that I want to ask you about because I'm seeing on my charts, if we can pull them up.
Let me
I'm seeing a
guess.
cow. I'm seeing a cow jump over the moon, Coach Hoop. What is going on here
Love
with
it.
cattle? We're making all-time highs in cattle. What's going on, Coach Hoop? You know, talk about trending markets, opportunities, and a bunch of other places. Cattle has been looking like an opportunity. What are we seeing here, Coach
Yeah.
Hoop?
We're near, obviously contract highs up at 207.30. The cash market is just, there's a lot of people just want buy beef. And usually,
Order filled.
fundamentally this time of year, pork tends to be more of a feature as you get into May and the summer. But cattle's got a mind of its own. Cash market's super strong. The technicals look, you can see them. It's to the moon, right? No pun intended.
Yeah.
But it's a little tough in a combine because it's, every dollar it moves is $400. So
Okay.
it's not something I've told traders like in a 50K, it's tough. In 100 or 150, I think it's easier. It's just I wish, now the day we start getting micro cow
Order
contracts,
filled.
then we might have
Mini cows.
issues. Yeah.
Mini
Order
But
filled.
Coach Paul and I have talked about that. Ooh, that was a wiggle.
Nice little pop in the equities here.
Yeah.
Oh, something just came. Eddie, we just get news. Something just came out.
Yeah, something.
I'm out of that.
All the markets just reversed and like a dime there.
Yep.
Really?
And this
Well,
is why
nothing hit
happened
the wire
there.
yet.
Pre-market,
we'll hear it in a
right,
second, I'm
Jay?
sure. Yeah, exactly. This is why, like I said, with that pre-market trade, I have targets lower, but the potential for something like this, that quick reversal, is why I'm going to see profit, take profit on a trade like that. So I got stopped out for
100%.
scratch, up $42 on that. And let's see, right? Because from a level perspective, it is still holding where my initial stop would have been, 19,915. It's just,
Okay, this just hit the wire, guys.
There we go.
EU plans concessions for Trump after the reciprocal tariffs do hit. One more time here. EU plans concessions for Trump after the reciprocal tariffs do hit. Back to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Eddie. Reciprocal tariff day is April 2nd. Is that correct?
Yep.
I think they said what? April 2nd, April 3rd.
Yep.
Yeah. We kick it down the road again.
Just like the Fed. Yeah. Kick the can down the road.
Just kick that thing down the road.
Nice little pop there in
Let's
the
see.
equities.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe they'll help you out there on that short. Got a little pop
You're in?
there, but well, no, but for yours,
Yeah.
I kind of like it because I think it just wrangled in some longs, and let's see what happens here. We're
That's
getting
the
to a
beauty of
close level here
micros,
where-
Vince.
Yeah.
You look at not
more
having those
forgiving.
contracts before. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I like that. I like it. Man, I wish I got filled. All right. It's all good though.
Ooh.
Hopefully traders here on watching us got short up there. But we're at an important level right here in gold. So let's see what happens.
Good stuff. All right. So we got about probably another 5 minutes or so on this segment. Coach Vince, going into the open, what are you looking at? What advice would you be giving to traders? What are you looking at for potentially to take your own trades? How are we preparing for that open?
On ES, all right, let me pull it up.
Whichever market you're going to trade.
Yeah, it'll be the ES. So, all right. So to the S&Ps, we are outside of range of value still. All right. So I'm a little bit on my toes here. I'm hoping that we open up with the gap imbalance. We do have overnight inventory is a little bit to the short side. All right, we're bumping up against value at 57.12 from back on the 21st. So we're going to have to see how we open. There might be an open range trade here I might take. Okay, if we open up and we test upside, I'm going to be looking to targets of settlement of 57.39 quarter, point of control 57.48 quarter, value high 57.67. That's what I'm looking at on the upside. If we open and this thing rotates downside, I'm looking to get potentially down here to 56.53, somewhere in that area, 56.50, 56.65 to, gotta give a zone here, 56.55.
Yep.
It all depends on how the market is moving along.
Get through this right here.
But right now we're back inside of range, outside of value. We got about 19 minutes till the open, so we'll have to see, right? We're gonna have to see how this thing opens.
Should
Those
be
are
an
the levels
interesting
I'm
day.
looking at for today right now. Now, if we do get all the way back up here at the
Through
top
the
of the gap
20,
at 57.78,
we have to get through the VWAP
and we cannot gain acceptance above it, I might take shorts up there. We're gonna have to see though, right?
Have to see. I think it should be a pretty interesting day. And then, of course, if there's no volatility in the first half an hour, that Michigan sentiment number has been one that has been moving the markets.
There we go. We're getting through it
recently. So you can look forward to that volatility. Traders, trade smart. Don't over leverage these markets. We were talking a little bit the other day about potentially, the ranges decreasing a little bit. It doesn't seem like that's the case, right? We did have fairly consolidated day.
One day anomaly.
One day anomaly, right? So we had yesterday's range in the Nasdaq at about 250 points. The daily ATR is about 420, right? So a consolidated day yesterday. Do we get another consolidated day today with that Michigan sentiment number coming out, or do we see an at range day or maybe above range day? It should be fairly interesting. I think these markets have been presenting a ton of opportunity lately, which is great, which also means you don't need to rush anything, right? We can let it kind of come to us and then take your opportunities from there. Coach Hoop, any words for our traders, anything that you might be looking at going into this open? How you would approach
I don't know if the rebalancing thing takes precedence this morning, but I just think, once again, just manage your risk this morning. It could get a little with Michigan and things going on. I would just let it play out a little bit.
Good stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Hoop. We got a couple minutes here. Coach Vince, you're getting some shout outs in the chat from David. Said, Coach Vince, you were spot on with the short in GC at that 117 area.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. I wish I would have taken the trade. Hopefully you got it though.
All
right, let's look at NASDAQ real quick.
Yeah,
let's yes.
You still short, Jay?
I got flat on that, whatever that spike was.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I would be out here.
Just looking at the NASDAQ, because I know everybody loves the NASDAQ. We are outside of range in value. So it's going to be a similar situation here. I still like the short side presently, right? So if we can, maybe if we roll over a little bit, there's a short, but we're outside of range in value from yesterday's settlement is up here at 1990 quarter. So open range, we're looking
order filled.
Pick out settlement, right? Overnight inventory is short. We have point of control sitting up here at 2065, 20,065. And we have value high at 20,122. So for the longs, that's what I'm looking at. Okay, I'm looking to test those levels on the way up. On the downside, I'm looking to get to 19,840 and maybe test into the low of 19,645 from back on March 21st. But we got to see how things are going. We got a pretty big candle brewing right here. Not sure if more news came out, Eddie. Something's going on.
Points.
Here.
Up 100 points from that low.
Yeah.
Coach Hoop, you're out of that gold.
Yeah. Kind of consolidating.
NASDAQ running 100 points. Wow.
In the last
This market's
9 minutes.
crazy. Pre-market, 100 point rally in the NASDAQ. No news, right?
No, I mean, outside of what Eddie just said there,
Pretty
EU
much.
plans concessions for
that was
Trump
it.
after reciprocal tariffs. Nothing else, Eddie, right?
That was it. That was the hot biscuit here, and that's what sort of initiated this move here.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Be interesting to see with rebalancing sitting there too. That just keeps sitting in the back of my mind right now, that when people on this break in here start to pile in some stuff. I don't know, just stay nimble. I'm trying to keep bias out of it this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 19,980 is going to be a key level here in the NASDAQ today. 19,980 to 19,990. I think that's going to be kind of the line in the sand today.
Agreed.
So I'll probably be trading around that area.
I agree with you there. And then we got the major, super psych level of 20,000 right above us right there, right? Where everyone who's trading NASDAQ knows that we're trading at 20,000. Yeah. The way I'm approaching that is if we push into 20,000s, and again, anything we say here is for educational purposes only, not a suggestion to take a trade. But if we push into 20,000s on a price basis with no volume, that is where I'd be looking to take that continuation short. Because that means there's not enough convinced buying up above those prices. So in that general area, like Coach Vince was just talking about, is that opportunity zone in the NASDAQ.
Hey, real quick, can you go to my chart real quick?
Couple order filled.
We'll make this real quick. So let's just keep it super simple.
But not quite.
This volume on a daily, have you seen that, Vince?
This is great, Antonio.
On any of this move, it's just the volume.
You're doing it, and you're doing it on your own.
Relative,
right?
This is
it's just been going down, going down. So
price target, and this is the long.
That's another real basic for people that are just getting into it, to see if this trend's going to keep running, or if it does rally. Is like, Jay, you're the volume, diagnosis king to me. On a longer time frame, before this market would get any type make reverse bullish, this volume's got to start to pick up a little bit.
For sure.
Oh, wow.
I would agree with you.
We're at 1.1 million in that gold short, Eddie. 1.1 mil.
Keep it running. Keep it running. Keep it running. Do we got a runner?
Drive the limo.
We got like a 500 lot.
I think we should add to it.
Man, that would have been nice, right? $1 million trade on TopStep TV. That would be pretty sick.
There you go.
Oh,
but
man, 1.2 million.
Gentlemen, I really appreciate you being here with us. That was pretty cool. We had Coachapalooza here for opening call. Coming up here, Fast Markets, big board number 5 live, Coach Dakota. Big board number 16 live. Barron's going to be with us here. Coming off, don't forget Peter Tuckman. We got Trevor H. going to join us. Mick with a drop in. We got Bonnie going to be here for Top Quiz.
You probably left that runner.
Rain going to be here for Rising Star.
Make sure everything is clean.
George, Hudson J. And yes, Tony. Number 37 on the big board. Going to be here for Power Hour, the reverse challenge.